Hello everyone and welcome to the back nine of the opening round of the 2020 Idlewild Open presented by Dynamic Disc. Terry Miller, the disc golf guy, alongside Matt Graham. And Matt, we've seen some pretty hot play by these guys in the front nine. I'm excited to see what happens on the back. Some people say buckle up and get ready for a wild ride.
It seems to me like the back nine plays to bigger arms, but you still have to play technical with a large portion of the holes playing through tight wooded fairways. So
it sounds dangerous, and we're going to start out on none other than hole number 10 here, 368 feet. This plays gradually uphill the entire way, and of course a very narrow corridor that you must navigate through. Just 11% of the field finding birdies here. We'll see if any of our card members do that, but comes in as the sixth most difficult hole on the course, 368. It's got to play at least 4, maybe 410 or 420 uphill. Oh, I think Calvin was calling for a hyzer back girl. Or ain't no hyzer back girl. Is that a thing?
I think you're throwing me off here, Terry. But I think Garrett just got kind of lucky there. But he gave himself a chance and found himself just outside of circle one, when what Chris just did is very likely to happen to even the best players as Chris is, and Calvin as well. But getting forward on this fairway will at least give you the chance to save your par.
Sounds like Eric might have missed his route, but sometimes if you miss just enough, it's actually good. As you take a pan up to the basket perched way up there.
Sometimes it's just as simple as what Chris did there, just a confident forehand.
Yeah, just a little standstill, and here's a forehand by Vinny, Kelvin Heimburg.
So here's Garrett's bid at a 2, just almost tasting chains.
Oh, and the solid putting continues. He doesn't let the 747 jet overhead disrupt his routine. And wow, one of the 11% there by Oakley. Nice work. And Clemons cleans up for his par, and I think we're going to see a few other cleanups here.
The scores are trying to tell us that this course is playing easier than it is, but what you're really seeing is very impressive golf.
Well, we move over to one of the shortest holes on the course. It is, in fact, the shortest hole at 242. We just flew over the FPO pad, and that's the one that we've seen for many years, but there's been a newer pad that was designed and installed a couple years ago to make it a little bit more difficult, and we're playing to yet another elevated pin here on hole 11. You just got to hit your lane.
Everyone that steps up to this tee pad is thinking, I would like to ace this.
No.
Now they throw their shot and they hope they don't hit a tree, and they hope they give themselves a look at birdie. But everyone's thinking, the ace is there.
Yeah, we saw even some aces in practice rounds over the years out here. And Double G stays clean and gets it to about pin high. Calvin's hair will eventually get in frame for us.
That was a very controlled putter shot there, bringing him just inside of circle one, giving him a pretty good opportunity to get the birdie. And Eric just putting that on a line, hoping that it would go in and give him one of those long shot birdies.
And you got to be really careful playing to this elevated basket, because you catch an edge just wrong, and that one sat down or flopped down for him, but you catch an edge just wrong, you can easily roll to the bottom of the hill. I've seen a few too many of those throughout the years.
And what Eric did there is a confident putt saying, what's a death putt? If I miss this, I'm not going to miss this. Good putt out of Calvin as well, cleaning up the birdie. This card is playing phenomenal. I can't say enough about it. It's looking too easy.
Yeah, these guys have racked up quite a few birdies. And Calvin, surprisingly, probably with the slowest start. But we'll see if he can start to turn things around. Of course, he had the eagle back on hole 8. Oh, spoiler, if you watch the front 9. All right, move over to hole number 12. Third most difficult hole on the course, 644 feet. You need to make it to at least the bend if you want to have any shot at taking a birdie 3 here. And then you're throwing your approach. We may see some rollers or some backhand skip shots for a righty. You need to be clean on the drive. Like I said, that's the only thing that can set you up for a possible approach for birdie.
Yeah, you'll see some players just throw their shot simply straight, not even looking to make the corner, trying to give themselves a placement shot. And that was Garrett Oakley throwing his drive off. We weren't able to capture that on camera, but he had a great drive, awesome distance, making the corner clearly. Wow.
Yeah, there's throwing a good shot, and then there's just managing to miss a few trees at 300 feet, and he did a little bit of both.
Look at the distance and control as if he planned it to skip and stall right there inside of circle 1, and I think he did plan that.
Yeah, Calvin does stuff like that, I guess.
And that goes back to, he did a placement shot off the tee pad, and he set himself up knowing that's what he wanted to do.
And Eric didn't have a good line in the air, so he goes with the roller, and it helps. This plays a little bit downhill. Once you get just over this hump in front of them, it does play downhill. And yeah, these guys are just, like you said, they're making it look much easier than it really is.
We can't say it enough. The fact that Chris is throwing his third shot makes it look as if he's playing poorly, when in fact he's playing what is pretty close to the average.
Yeah, pretty incredible, and great putt by Eric. It feels like his putting stroke's really on today. He knew it before it was in.
He turned around because he likes to wear his face mask when he goes to approach the basket, which is totally polite and awesome of him. And so we see that's what's happened there. And great putt by Garrett. These guys are just cleaning up with birdies, and it's amazing.
We'll move over to hole number 13. For the men, this is considered a par 4. Actually, it is for the women as well. 472 feet. The mandatory through the Y tree is not in play, so to speak, for the players this weekend. That is more of a regular or local rule. And then you see the protected green down here. Man, a big shot might give you a look at a long throw-in. Yeah, you need to get a great hyzer with the right amount of speed to it, but then also need to miss all the trees that you can't see 350 or 400 feet away.
Yeah, to give yourself a chance at a 2 on this hole would just be phenomenal. One of the mistakes you don't want to make is what Eric just did there, but he got lucky, punched through those trees, giving himself somewhat of an opportunity to get up there.
If you throw most of your shots like Eric did, 9 out of 10 times I feel like you're going to find the OB on that left side. So the fact that his kick back out for him was pretty good. Unfortunately, Chris Clemons didn't.
But that goes to show you what you're saying. It's probably true most of the time. You got to hit your lines. When there's OB, it tends to be like a magnet on this course. So Chris is opting here to throw over a lot of OB and towards OB. And yes, it found it just at circle's edge.
A little too much power. That skip pushed him into the out of bounds, and Calvin, who's in a pretty good position, can get a little aggressive. He plays the backstop, little plinko roll, stop right next to the pin. And double G. Okay. Taking the fellow Floridian approach and hits it right off the Disc Golf Pro Tour pole koozie. That's trademarked. I came up with that before, by the way.
That was a pretty good bid on the basket there, but I think he was more going for the layup. And Chris, with an excellent putt, he only threw 3 shots on this hole. 2 of them out of bounds. His third in the basket. It's the best you can do if you throw out of bounds 2 times.
I wouldn't recommend it at home, though. That's for a highly skilled professional. And they clear out. We move over to hole number 14, a par 4, 556 feet. I don't know how this is the 14th most difficult hole. I would think it'd be so much more challenging than that. But you play all the way down this left side pipe, and then it ultimately finishes up into the right. OB short of the basket, OB way to the left of the basket. To me, it's pretty incredible that 36% of the field found a way to birdie this hole.
The forehand definitely seems to be the play with the shape of the hole, but you do see players backhanding as well. But the forehand is typically your play to make sure you make the corner.
That was good.
And yeah, strong forehand. You hear Calvin cry out there. That looks good. Looks like it pushed just a little long in that corner, so hitting some trees on the outside edge there, but giving him what should be a pretty easy par at the very least.
This shot to me is just incredible that Double G opts for the backhand roller and really puts himself in a great position with it.
Yeah, do you look at this hole downhill through a wooded fairway, rocky, bumpy terrain, and think, I'm going to throw a roller?
And Double G's like, I got this.
Now for Chris, who had hit early trees off the tee pad, to be able to make it down to that point gives him the opportunity to save the par. We'll see what he can do on his approach. Calvin throwing his second shot. Probably feeling pretty confident about getting the birdie here and almost actually throwing it in for the eagle.
Double G finally gets to throw his second. And also right next to the pin. And you hear, of course, the planes overhead. I know I mentioned them earlier, and that one looked like it leaked out. Maybe a little mental lapse for Eric there for just a moment. But the Cincinnati airport, no more than 15 minutes away. So throughout the day, you hear quite a few planes. Some of them look like they're coming in pretty low when you're out there on the course. As we see the birdie by Heimburg.
This group, Terry, was extremely chill, totally encouraging each other, low-key, just awesome group to have together. Eric's going to be able to walk away after that missed putt and know that these guys are supporting him to continue on, and his mental game is just going to keep on riding.
And the short walk brings us over to hole number 15, the uphill through a very tight gap, and another gap, and another gap. Yeah, you need to play all the way up this hill. Finally, when you get to the turn, you're going to hang a gentle right, and then you'll find a somewhat protected green. This hole is beastly. It is just 487 feet and plays so much longer.
It is much more uphill than this video coverage is making it look. these players are throwing just about as hard as they can, but trying to make sure that they're accurate to stay centered and straight on the fairway, ending straight. And as you mentioned, it plays much longer.
And miraculously, all of the guys missing the two main field goal trees that you must get around, and looks like maybe a little slip and a little miscue there by Heimburg.
If you're going to miss on your drive, the preference would be to miss on the left side, giving you still an angle, somewhat of an attack on this basket, where Calvin and Chris found themselves very tough to make their way up towards the basket.
Yeah, and if anyone needs a lesson in your run-ups or your walk-ups on an uphill stance, Double G's putting on a clinic here. That's the third time he's thrown with absolute precision, even though he's had to run uphill to do so.
And talking about clinics, Eric's putting on a roller clinic. This is the second or third roller that we've seen out of Eric, and once again putting himself in position to potentially hit a big putt.
Heimburg aggressive, but I think he was just trying to throw that in so he can just get off this darn hole. Like, he's like, I want to be done with hole number 15, and I don't blame him right now.
From outside circle 2, Garrett Oakley putting in his biggest putt to this point in the round. What an awesome, awesome putt that was. Good job, Eric, coming off of that missed putt on the previous hole to say, I still have it in me to hit the big one.
I'd go as far as saying that Oakley's putt was at least 3 times, maybe even 4 times longer than the one he previously missed. So certainly a good way to make up for it.
And Calvin and Chris cleaning up, but I'd like to say that even Calvin's, maybe at this pro level, that would not be considered a tester putt. But Terry, you and I stepping up to that, we're hoping that we make it. They're knowing that they're making it.
There's a hope and a prayer that get thrown around. I know that.
Buttery.
As these guys, we'll move over to the longest hole we'll see this weekend. 969 feet. The grass on both the left and the right side, that long grass you're seeing, is in fact out of bounds. And then we have a wider out of bounds that this filters to at the bottom of the hill. And of course, then you have the water in front of the basket. They said that they widen this fairway by a good 15 or 20 feet, I think. But it's still, you still need to put a placement shot out there and find the short grass.
Wow. Just tickling the top of that long grass and making its way inbounds. Garrett is by far one of the furthest throwers, and he just demonstrated he can control his distance as well. Eric just getting it down low. I don't know if that was a tailwind or what the reasoning was there, but getting it low is going to prevent the distance that he was looking for sure.
Yeah, I think you got maybe just a little bit nervous. The last thing you want to do is get this thing up in the air and then find yourself going out of bounds late in the flight.
So Calvin just heard, we just heard Calvin say, ooh, that's a lot of hyzer. It definitely came out more angle than he was hoping for. But did you see that bounce off of the long grass?
The long grass tickler strikes again.
Totally got lucky. In fact, the spotters ran over and said out of bounds at first. And Calvin thought he was out of bounds until they changed their mind, realizing that it actually bounced off the long grass.
That's incredible. We try to punch in on this and watch Calvin come all the way down. And, wow, puts himself on the dance floor looking at an eagle from there.
That's going to be really good.
Oakley and Calvin assuring.
Oh man.
No.
How short was that? That was 10 feet short possibly from being parked.
He needed either a little bit more or a little bit less, and he finds himself out of bounds. Looks like Double G kind of turns that one over. But thankfully for him, it did stop before finding the OB.
So Eric's looking for it to nestle up, and whether that's by luck or was intentional, he hit the edge of the out of bounds and stayed in.
Yeah.
That is a true gift for a hot round that he's putting down. Here's Calvin for the eagle bid, the 3 on a par 5, and Calvin puts in another eagle.
I mean, they must not be that hard. I mean, he's got 2 of them.
When you have that much distance, maybe it's not that hard, but to get that much distance is that hard.
Oakley's bid is short, and so is Clemons. Really surprising to see that. And I feel like Double G, if he doesn't at least take a birdie here, he's definitely going to be frustrated. A hole that requires just so much distance. Him and Calvin, for instance, all day long are just chomping at the bit to get up to this one.
To speak to the difficulty of the eagle here, Garrett walked up to his putt and said, "Where's the 4th putter?" And they all had to remember, oh yeah, Calvin hit the eagle.
And we move on to hole 17. Just a couple trees here and a little bit of OB as we're going to fly through one of the possible routes that you could look for to get to the basket. 418 feet onto the peninsula green. And there is so much danger just really everywhere on this hole. And it comes in at 3.97 on the day.
The play here is more or less to, if you're going to have an error, is to miss right. It seems as if you push far enough, you can see this landing area here. It's your best bet on this hole. You will see forehands. You will see straight backhands, just like Garrett's doing, fortunately hitting a tree and ending out of bounds. Gotta miss the trees.
Go, girl.
Wow, and you hear the call to go girl, and his disc listened and continued down to circle's edge on this really difficult hole.
It's the kind of girl I'd like to meet.
All right, so inbounds, but finding himself still on the edge of the fairway / rough with an island green surrounded by out of bounds.
Oh, and it hit right off the bridge. It looked like it popped off of, went right over the basket, and unfortunately found the out of bounds.
That play that Eric just attempted and that Calvin just did, it's one of those plays where you try to decide, am I trying to lay up onto the green area or just outside of it? Which gives me the best chance at my putt with the least risk of going out of bounds? Here's Chris taking a bid for his 2 and giving it a great effort, honestly. It didn't seem like there was any concern for OB in his head.
Yeah, the fact that you're drawing metal on an eagle look here is incredible. Double G walks away with the bogey.
Once again, being able to take your meter in from the last place you were inbounds. In some ways, it looks like an advantage, but the reality is it's just the rule. And so Eric's taking full advantage of that to make his putt that much easier.
And then we make the long walk up the hill to the treacherous, dangerous, diabolical, some other adjectives I can't think of. I'm not that smart. We get to 18, this tunnel shot all the way through, and then it finally opens up at the end for the last 250 feet. The hole is 650 feet overall, and there's just nothing but trouble here. I mean, yeah, there's a fairway that you could drive a semi through, But can you drive it straight?
Depends how big it is. Garrett has a great round at coming into hole 18. Calvin also shooting the same, 8 under. Eric not far behind with his 7 under, hoping to finish out here with par or better. They know that they've put down solid rounds. And Chris's 5 under is no joke. We see majority of the pro field shooting in that range.
I'm getting mixed signals. I hear hold, turn, hold, hold, turn. Leaks out to the left side. And I know we talked about it way early in the round. Sometimes this course just requires a pitch out. And you know there's plenty of difficulty when you see one of the best players on the planet throwing a pitch out, but then trying to make up for it that way, and that's about as good as it gets.
I saw him contemplate that little pitch out for his full time limit and deciding exactly where he wanted to be to give him that opportunity for his approach, and he just nailed it.
So good, dude. Love it. Fight.
See, you can continue to hear the encouragement from these
Yeah.
players. They're rooting for each other. It's totally cool to observe and listen.
And as these guys continue to move up the fairway, I got to thank Dynamic Disc, our title sponsor here of the event, along with the Natty and the entire crew, Adam and Jason, and all the guys that put in so much work to make this event happen. As we're back here for the Disc Golf Pro Tour as Double G. The
scramble that he just did, I don't think the video did justice. He was no body position there at all. The fact that it made it to where he is truly a testament to his athletic abilities, and a great bid there.
Clemons closing it out with the birdie. As we're going to close it out again, like, share, and subscribe. And also let us know what your favorite hole is on the back 9 of this course. And that will make you eligible to win a free disc that I'll be giving away. And I got to thank Matt along with Steve out there catching all the action. Appreciate it, and look forward to seeing you guys for the chase card action in round 2. I'm the Disc Golf Guy, and I hope you enjoyed the coverage here from the Idlewild Open. Got to thank our commentators and, of course, all of the tour supporters and sponsors out there, and our presenting sponsors in the Natty and Dynamic Disc. Click up here because we're going to have a playlist for all the action here throughout the weekend, and also make sure you like, share, and subscribe. That's going to make you eligible to win some free Disc Golf Guy swag. Again, appreciate you guys watching. Looking forward to being here all weekend.